This video uses a collaborative review scenario to provide an overview of the SavvyDox Reader for iPad, one of the main components of the SavvyDox document distribution platform. The reader ensures that busy team members are kept up to date, can zero in on what has changed, and can provide real-time feedback to the author and other team members, all with virtually no effort required. For the purpose of this demo, I'm going to play the role of a board member on an audit committee. I've been collaborating with the CFO and other board members on an audit of accounts receivable report. First thing you see here is the SavvyDox login screen. I've been given my account credentials after a simple email sign-up from the CFO when he first invited me to review the first draft of this document. So I'm going to tap Login after having entered my credentials. After logging in, the first thing I'm presented with is my collections view. Collections are really just sets of documents organized in different ways, some by the system, some by you, the user. In this case, the three blue collections are ones the system has set up. All published documents refers to any documents that I may have published out to other team members. All received documents is the catch-all for any documents that people have sent to me. And the SavvyDox Guide collection is really just some system documentation that includes, among other things, some getting started guides that will be quite helpful for new users. The two green collections are ones that I've set up myself. On the left-hand side, the audit committee collection is what we call a smart collection, and this is denoted by a gear in the lower right-hand corner. And this is really governed by a set of rules that I've set up. And in this case, I've decided to put any documents that have been tagged as audit documents into this collection automatically. The demo collection is another custom collection, but it's one that I manually decide which documents will go into. And that's the one that we're going to use for the purpose of this demonstration. So let me tap on that now. Now we're looking at the collection view for the demo collection. Let's talk about how it can help you get up to speed quickly on what you need to know. At the top, you can see there's different ways of sorting the documents: by title, by date, by changes. It's sorted by date so that I always see the most recently arriving documents at the top of the list. Next, have a look at the top left-hand corners of each of the thumbnails. You can see there's a green check mark that's there. This indicates that the documents are up to date and the most recent versions. Now let's look at the badges that are to the right of the document thumbnails. A blue badge indicates a new document or a document that has material that you haven't read yet. A gray or missing badge indicates documents that you've already read. The badge contents themselves say either new or the number of changes since the last version of the document, so you can see the extent of the change. And finally, for documents with multiple versions, SavvyDox keeps track of the last version that you've read so that you can pick up where you left off, or as we'll see in a minute, you can quickly work out the differences between the most recent version and where you last read it. Now, because I'm on the audit committee, the ABC Company Audit Report is the document of interest to me. I've got a meeting coming up, and it looks like there's been a couple of versions published since I last took a look at it. So I'm going to start with that one to bring myself up to speed. Tapping on the document thumbnail takes me into the SavvyDox Reader document view. Across the top, you can see the title of the document, the current version that I'm in, the current page that I'm on, and the total number of pages for the document. To the right, you can see the green check mark again, indicating that I am in fact looking at the most recent version of the document so that I'm all up to date. Now let's talk about the tools along the bottom. There are three high-level tool sets in the Reader. The first, on the far left, is the Change tool set. In the middle, the Annotation tools, and to the right, the Search tools. Let's first talk about the Change tools. The first thing to notice is the status bar at the bottom. There are 6 changes, which correspond to the 6 in the badge in the collection view. Immediately to the right of that is the Compare icon, in this case showing Delta 3, or that this version is being compared to version 3 of the document. If I want to make sure that I'm up to speed from what I last saw, I can tap on that button. I notice that the eyeglasses are on version 2, so I'm going to tap that. First thing you'll see here is that the change indicator shows now 10 changes because I'm going back further in history, but this is what I need to do to bring it up to speed from when I last looked at it. Now that I have the right context, I can begin to explore the actual changes in the document, and there's 2 tools to help me do that. The first is what we call the Change Strips tool. So I'm going to tap on this in the bottom right-hand corner. I'm brought to a high-level view of change snippets in the whole document, and there's 3 high-level types of indicators here. A red drop pin indicates deleted content. A yellow or orange color indicates changed content or replaced content, and a green color indicates newly inserted content. I can tap on any one of these strips to take me to the actual context in the document. And you can see this takes me directly to the page with that change on it and pops up the replaced content, in this case a replaced flowchart. The other tool that I've got to help me explore changes is the Changes Page Thumbnail tool. And if I tap this brings up a list of change pages within the document. So if I have a very large document, I only need to look at a few pages, the ones that have changed since I last looked. In this case, I'll just tap page 18 to have a look at what's changed on that as an example. And here, this is actually an area that's been of interest to me because I've been providing guidance on the write-offs for accounts receivable. And I'm wondering what's actually changed here. So if I tap on this, I can see that what I actually think is an important paragraph has been replaced since I went away. I disagree with this change, so I need to provide some feedback to that effect, which brings us to the second high-level tool set, the annotation tools. I simply tap on that icon now to bring up the set of notes and highlighting tools that are available to me. Now that I'm in annotations mode, there's a couple of ways that I can add notes to this document. The first is a floating note that I can place anywhere in the text. And to get that, I tap on the icon at the bottom and place the note where I would like it beside the paragraph. I've now entered my comment indicating I'd like the previous text restored. The next thing I need to do is indicate who gets to see that note. SavvyDox notes can either be personal notes, notes shared with the author, or notes shared with everybody that got sent the document. In this case, I want all board members to see it, so I'm going to tap on the Everyone sharing option here. You can see that I also could have replied to this note if it was one that had previously been created. I now tap outside the note to save it, not only locally, but it's also automatically synchronized with the SavvyDox server so that it can be propagated to all my devices and the other board members. Looking at the rest of the annotation tools, you can see there's an overall status indicator for annotations in the document. And then to the right of the notes icon, there's a highlighter which allows you to mark up text, as well as the familiar strips view and pages thumbnails view, this time of annotations. Let's just tap on the pages thumbnail view. Here we can see there's really two pages in the document that have some annotations. The one that I just added on page 18, but the other that I hadn't noticed before is that it looks like there's been some work going on page 5. So I'm going to tap that. This brings me back to the executive summary where I can see that there's 3 comments have been placed on the page. Now, the different color avatars indicate different board members have actually contributed to this. The black one is one that I know I created. And so if I tap on that, I can see that this was a note that I provided before I went away that saying we needed more emphasis on risk. And the other 2 board members have actually replied to this. The other 2 that I haven't seen yet, really just a request to provide better wording rather than data analysis by board member 2. And the last by board member 3, indicating that they're okay with the overall summary and would approve it as stands. The last of the 3 high-level tools is the search tool, which I can tap on here. This really is a very standard interface that allows you to enter search terms and would display the results in either strips view or pages thumbnail view. And that's it. If I tap the back button, it takes me back to my collection view where I can see that my document shows as having been read, as it's now showing as gray 6. I can now move on to what else is new, such as the travel policy document. So as you can see, it takes very little effort to zero in on just what you need to know to stay up to date and to collaborate with the author and other team members. The SavvyDox Reader for iPad is a free download from the Apple App Store. If you don't already have an account, simply click on the Don't Have an Account link to sign up for a free starter account. And if you want to read more about the SavvyDox Reader for iPad, have a look at the Getting Started guide that is automatically downloaded when you first log in.